You know what one of the most dangerous lies is? The one that sounds like this? That is just who I am. I have always been this way. I cannot change. This is just me. Maybe it is a pattern you keep falling into, a habit you cannot shake, a version of yourself you are not proud of but have quietly accepted as permanent. And somewhere along the way, you stopped believing that real change was actually possible for you. 2 Corinthians 5:17 disagrees completely. Therefore, if anyone is in Jesus, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. Not the new is coming. Not the new is possible someday. The new is here, present tense, right now. And today we are going to talk about what that actually means, because this verse is not just a nice thing to say at a baptism. It is one of the most radical statements in the entire New Testament. Paul is writing this letter to the church in Corinth, and the people he is writing to are not a polished, put-together group. Corinth was one of the most morally chaotic cities in the ancient world. The believers there came from every kind of background. People who had lived hard lives, made serious mistakes, carried real weight. And Paul is not writing to remind them of who they used to be. He is writing to remind them of who they are now. If anyone is in Jesus, that phrase, in Jesus, is doing everything in this verse. It is not talking about knowing about Jesus. It is not talking about attending church or being religious. It is talking about a living, personal connection, a life that is genuinely rooted in Him. And Paul says, if that is you, something has happened that cannot be undone. A new creation has come. The word Paul uses for new in the original Greek is kainos, and it does not mean a renovation. It does not mean the old thing got cleaned up and improved. Kainos means something of a completely different nature, something that did not exist before in that form. That is not a small word. Paul is not saying you got better. He is saying something new came into existence. The old has gone. The new is here. Now here is where this gets personal. Because most of us do not feel like a new creation all the time. We still struggle with the same things. We still have bad days. We still catch ourselves slipping into old patterns and wondering, did anything actually change? And that tension is real. It is honest. And it is important to understand. Being a new creation is not the same as being a perfect person. It is a change of identity, not an absence of struggle. Think of it this way. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it is genuinely, completely new, a different creature entirely. But it still has to learn to use its wings. It still has to navigate a world it has never experienced in this new form. The transformation is real. The process of living in it takes time. That is you. The transformation is real. Our Father did not patch up the old version. He made something new. But you are still learning to live from that new identity. And that is okay. That is actually what growth looks like. The problem is not that we struggle. The problem is when we forget who we are in the middle of the struggle. When we let a bad day convince us that the new creation was never real. When we let an old pattern make us feel like nothing has changed. Everything has changed. You just have to keep reminding yourself of what is true. So what has actually changed? Because if we are going to live from this truth, it helps to know specifically what it means. Your identity has changed. Before Jesus, your identity was shaped entirely by what you had done, what had been done to you, and what the world said about you. That was the whole story. But in Jesus, your identity is no longer rooted in your past. It is rooted in what He has done. You are not defined by your worst moments. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not who people said you were when they were trying to diminish you. You are a new creation, seen, known, and fully loved by our Father. That is not something you earn. It is something you receive. And once you receive it, really receive it, it starts to change how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you respond to failure, how you get back up. Your relationship with the past has changed. The old has gone. That does not mean the memories disappear. It does not mean consequences evaporate overnight, but it means the past no longer has a claim on your future. It no longer gets to write the next chapter. A lot of people are living in a prison built out of who they used to be. They cannot move forward because they keep dragging the old version of themselves into every new situation. They cannot receive good things because deep down, they still feel like they are the person who does not deserve them. But our Father does not see you through the lens of who you were. Jesus took the old. It is gone. And what our Father sees when He looks at you now is the new, the creation He made, the child He loves, the person He has a future for. Let the old go. It is not your address anymore. Your direction has changed. A new creation is not just a new label. It comes with a new compass. Before Jesus, the default direction of our lives is inward. Self-protection, self-promotion, self-preservation. That is just the natural pull of a life without our Father at the center. But in Jesus, something shifts. The compass starts pointing outward, toward others, toward purpose beyond yourself, toward a life that is being built for something bigger than just getting through the day. That shift does not happen all at once, but it is real. And over time, if you stay connected to Jesus, you will look back and barely recognize the direction you used to be heading. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. You are not stuck. Whatever you have told yourself about your patterns, your past, your personality, our Father is not bound by any of it. He specializes in new. He started the whole universe with it. And He started something new in you the moment you stepped into a real relationship with Jesus. On the days when you feel like nothing has changed, go back to this verse, not as a feeling, as a fact. 2 Corinthians 5:17 is not describing how you feel on your best day. It is describing what is true on every day. The new creation is not something you become when you finally get it all together. It is who you already are. Live from that. Speak from that. Make decisions from that. When the old voices come back, and they will, remind them that they are talking to someone who is no longer who they used to be. The old has gone. The new is here. And our Father is not finished with what He started in you. Not even close.